Yeah, it is an episode of the Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. Emergency live session. We couldn't do it yesterday. I was in transit. You were working. But good things come to those who wait. Breaking news. Colin Cowherd, of all people, put it out about a week ago, and it came true. It hasn't been officially announced by the Raiders, but everyone is out, all media out there is saying it's a done deal. Former Texas Tech coach, former Texas quarterback, former Arizona Cardinals head coach, former USC
quarterback coach,
quarterback whisperer, Kliff Kingsbury will be brought on as the offensive coordinator for the Raiders. Obviously, he's famous for the air raid offense. He was the coach in Texas Tech when Patrick Mahomes was there. He was obviously the coach for the Cardinals from like 2019 to 21, I believe. 22. And now he is our offensive coordinator. Soto. I think he had a lot of interviews. The Bears, I think, were after him semi-strong. In the end, he chose the Raiders. I think he chose the Raiders because I think he thinks there's going to be stability here. He's been jumping around, right? Got fired, went to Thailand, came back, did like a cup of coffee at SC as kind of an advisory role. And I think he thinks to himself, look, Antonio Pierce probably isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Just got hired. I don't want to jump around all over the place. Let me go into Vegas and hopefully I try to reinvent myself after getting fired from Arizona.
I like the hire, man. One thing that I talked about if you want to get a young coordinator, get one that really doesn't have any aspirations of being a head coach. If you take a look
he has the aspirations, but he's not gonna get offers.
I think it's both, because you take a look at this trajectory of the Cardinals, right? 5 wins, 8 wins, 11 wins, and then down to 4 wins. Well, what happened that 4th year? Yeah, my quarterback gets hurt, handful of games in, and the wheels just fall off.
A bunch of guys got hurt too.
Yeah, a bunch of guys got hurt on that team that year. So when you take a look at something like that, normally a head coach who has won 11 games the previous year, and your starting quarterback gets hurt and a bunch of other guys get hurt, you can survive that. Yeah. There's a reason why he didn't survive that. I just don't think that he wanted to be a head coach anymore in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I think he had a lot more fun when he was in college, just really doing a lot of offense, in the offense and not really worrying about anything else. And honestly, I think that's
he did at college. He didn't care about his defense.
Yeah, and you hear Patrick Mahomes talk about Kliff Kingsbury, and he's like, he turned me into a quarterback. He turned me into a baseball player who played quarterback into an actual quarterback. He did that. And going in, that was a perfect situation for him to sneak in under Lincoln Riley at USC. Just kind of like working the offense, working the system, working with the quarterbacks, just focusing on offense. And I think him going back into that role where he didn't have to be the coordinator going in, and he just got to work with quarterbacks. He got to, work with the offense, and it really didn't have any play calling duties or anything like that. That kind of let him know, hey, you know what? I can have fun coaching as long as I coach what I like to do, which is offense. This could be something that can work really well for us. And we talked about this. When you have a head coach who is not a coordinator, right? It's difficult because you have good coordinators, you have success. Those coordinators go elsewhere. Patrick Graham probably going to go somewhere in the next couple of years. Kliff Kingsbury, I don't know he's going to want to go anywhere anytime soon, because I don't know that taste is out of his mouth yet from that bad taste of Arizona kind of thing. And I mean, from what we hear, AP could be a good defensive coordinator because he's super smart and knows defense. But that's looking forward. But for right now, for this hire, you get a young guy who was well sought out, and who's looked at as being one of the talented young minds offensively.
Yeah, he's not going to get any head coaching opportunities anytime soon after getting fired from Arizona, and that's a good thing, right? Like maybe you're right. He doesn't have aspirations, but I don't think anyone else is going to have aspirations for him anytime soon, right? It'll be several years. Like you don't get fired and get another job that quick. So there's that part. The other things I like about it is it's another guy with head coaching experience on this roster to go with Marvin Lewis, right? So we've got Antonio Pierce, who's going to have to learn on the job. So whether he was, however you think of him as a head coach in Arizona, whether you think he did good or bad, he still had head coaching 4 years as a head coach, and that's a valuable experience that Antonio Pierce can draw on. So that was another head coach on the roster. I was disappointed. My initial reaction was disappointed. I've warmed up a little bit in the last 24 hours on the idea. The fact of the matter is his offenses were never great. They were often average. His points per game in the 4 years as a Cardinal. In 2019, it was 22.6. That was 16th. 2020, it was 25.6. That was 13th. 2021, it was 26.4. That was 11th. And then, like you mentioned, 2022, everyone got hurt. They dropped to 20 points per game. That was 21st. So the offenses were never awesome, but it was trending in the right direction. I think what the Raiders will benefit from is that Kliff Kingsbury kind of used that 4 years in Arizona to adapt his offense to a more pro style. And I'll go through the stats in a second, how he definitely it got pro'd out over the course of those 4 years. And it improved throughout the course of those 4 years. So hopefully we're getting a more refined finished product of something he was tinkering with for 4 years and hopefully still tinkering with when he was at SC and when he wasn't hired.
So one thing we have to realize here, and we have to come to terms with, the style of play is no longer going from the NFL down. It's coming from the passing leagues up. Okay. So we saw a lot more spread, a lot more read option, all that stuff that we were seeing in college a bunch of years ago. It's starting to become normal now in the NFL.
Yeah.
You get Kliff Kingsbury with his version of an air raid, which is pretty much of a spread out West Coast offense. It's just, if you don't know what it is,
a way cooler name.
Yeah.
Air raid.
Air raid. Yeah.
I think we should have that. We need to do a sound effect every time we talk about air raid. We do an air raid siren.
Like the sirens.
Honestly, I think 62% of the reason why he got promoted quickly, despite not having big wins in college, was he's good looking as hell and he does air raid. It's just sexy, right? That salon quality hair, and then your offense is called air raid. It's yeah, give me that guy.
So good.
Give me the good looking air raid.
So he like you said, he adapted it, and from the very beginning, I was telling you guys, it's not what you think. The air raid is not what you think. All they do is sit in the shotgun and pass the ball all the time, because he had a few 2,000-yard plus seasons as a team, and we're going to go through the numbers. But he likes to run the ball. He's adapted that, to the NFL style. And then you take a look at what they were doing at SC and how they were running their offense at SC. It's a little bit different from what he was doing. So he got a little bit of exposure of what a Lincoln Riley offense there. And it's definitely not going to be boring, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely not going to be boring. And if anyone wants to take a look at any Farva tape from college, I recommend to watch the Motor City Bowl his junior year. If he would have gone his junior year, he would have probably been a top 3rd round pick in that top 3 rounds. Watch that game against Tennessee in the Motor City Bowl. Watch that offense. That offense is basically the air raid offense, except he had a couple of he also took snaps under center. So this is an offense that Aiden O'Connell thrived in when he had weapons. His senior year, he got a new offensive coordinator, lost a couple weapons. A couple guys graduated, a couple guys got suspended. His brother died. There's a lot of stuff happened that senior year. But you take a look at Aiden O'Connell, So it's not a foregone conclusion that we're going to find some other quarterback from somewhere else. But there is that connection to Caleb. And there's a couple of connections that we have now with Chicago. We have the Champ connection. We have the Telesco, who's been in the league doing it for I don't know how many years, 10 years now as a GM.
Kliff coached Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, it's there's a lot to like about this. There's a lot to like about this hire, and I don't like to look
Air Raiders.
Yeah. I don't like to look at
the t-shirt.
Well, someone was a bad head coach, he's going to be a bad offensive coordinator. Well, even when he was a head coach with the Cardinals, he wasn't just the offensive coordinator there. So he wasn't able to just focus on the offense. So it's not a true representation of what he can do as just an offensive coordinator when he was with Arizona, because he had to coach the entire team, right? So I can see us being a lot better offensively fairly quickly. Like we heard from a clip from the Pat McAfee show. Kliff Kingsbury is a tireless worker, gets there super early every day, 3:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. By 4:30, he's already watching film, right? And his line was, I get guys open. And you watch the film, and there's guys open all over the place. Do we have enough time, and does the quarterback find them in time? I think it's a good hire. I think a lot of the naysayers are going to be pleasantly surprised.
Let a naysayer know. There's a lot to unpack there. You're all over the place. Let's start with the problem with the air raid, and not just Kliff Kingsbury's version of it, but although he hasn't changed this part of it at all. So the thing he has not changed about the air raid at all is O-line. Giant splits. And he more or less leaves all 5 linemen, and that's it as protection. Like maybe the running back will chip on the way out, something like that. But there's a lot of pressure on an O-line to do the air raid because they're giant splits and they're by themselves. He was able to deal with that because he always had mobile quarterbacks. Now he doesn't. So that's the big knock here, right? If it does end up being Barba, right? Like there's the reading the field and making the passes. More or less Farva can handle. He's got the brain for it for sure. It's that protection that I'm gonna be worried about, right? Like this O-line, it's used to normal splits, tight end helping block. Josh Jacobs is a great blocker out of the backfield. If he's gone, Zeus is nowhere near as good as a blocker in the backfield. That's going to be an issue, especially with a very maybe the least mobile quarterback in the NFL.
So one thing that you can do if you're not a mobile quarterback is know where to go with the football. And that's one thing that Aiden O'Connell does know what to do with the football. He knows where to go. It actually, this spread style offense, it makes it easier on the quarterbacks. We said it a bunch of times during the season. The commentators were saying it. Go 4 wide. Give your young quarterback some easy reads. Okay. Mm-hmm. Why are the reads easier? Well, you're forcing the secondary to show you a lot more when you're showing them a lot more and spreading them out, not letting them disguise things, right? So you know where your targets are, you know where your quick throws are, you know where all that stuff, your outlets, all that stuff already beforehand. I don't think this new offense is going to be an issue as far as brain power wise, because Favre is really smart, but you can be not as mobile if you know where to go with the football. And I think that was one of the things that actually hurt Calamari's development is he was a little bit too willing at times to run the ball. And there were guys that were open if he knew where to look. And it's a give and take as far as that goes. You're not going to get those dynamic plays with the legs or those off schedule plays, but you're also going to get a lot more safety net throws for Farva.
The Davante Adams should be doing cartwheels right now.
Oh yeah.
Because you're basically forced to do kind of one-on-one in this scheme, right? If you've got 5 guys wide or 4 in a running back, if you're running like 10 personnel or something, I mean, you can still kind of bracket, right? That's how defenses started to stop Kliff Kingsbury's offenses in Arizona. It was too deep, and then they just kind of let everyone run deep, right? And so that's why they were able to that's why having like a scrambling quarterback is so big, right? They just beat it by going deep. You start doing some screens, some quarterback design runs, quarterback draws. That's how you beat that. But this is something that I think Davante and Trey Tucker is going to thrive in this offense. And the other part is like Kliff Kingsbury's air raid, almost all air raids is like there's no like clear out routes, right? Like you'd see we had like Hunter Renfrow open so much this season, but like his job was just to be a clear out, right? And so it's like in this
everyone in the route tree serves a purpose.
Is there. So you could be the number 4 wide receiver out there, and if you're open, you're getting the ball. Like you're part of the progression. You're there to get the ball. So we definitely have the wide receivers and targets to make an air raid offense work.
A good thing about this offense as well is you use so many guys from the receiver position. It really helps younger receivers because normally they're against guys who normally wouldn't be out there, right? A lot of like dime coverage and stuff like that. A lot of maybe some DBs who, haven't been out there as much. Also, we saw with SC, we did a lot more motion than he's used to.
You know better than me. How much was he influencing the actual offense at SC? Was that ever written about?
I don't think so. I don't think he was an actual influence to the offense itself. I think he did give a lot of like secondary route trees to as an ideas for like route combinations to help out, because I know that we did at SC this last season, we did a lot of different things to help to make throws easier early. We can get into that later about why Caleb just kept running around. It's pretty much because he knew he had to score a touchdown every time he had the ball because his defense was absolutely god awful. So he had to scramble on and make big plays because you had to score touchdowns all the time. But one thing that we did at SC that he didn't do as much in like a true air raid is a lot of motion. So there's a lot of things that I don't see Kliff Kingsbury as somebody who's just going to like stick to one thing. I'm just going to stick to this, right? I think he's going to be a lot more flexible. I think we can still implement tight ends, even inline tight ends with this system. You just have the tight end run what the slot receiver on his side would have run.
He basically plays to his tight end. So like when he first got to Arizona, he had just shit tight ends, and so he never threw to him. And then Zach Ertz came to Arizona, and he threw to him. So it's kind of like dependent on Mayer, right? Like if Mayer plays well, he'll throw to him. If he doesn't, then he won't. Like it's kind of.
He's the one guy that he did put in motion at Arizona. Is he did move him around a lot. So
I don't know. I don't know if Kliff isn't. His biggest knock is his lack of flex. Like he's slowly to adjust, right? Like that's been his biggest thing, which is why I think hopefully he made all those changes through Arizona, right? He had 4 years to adjust, and hopefully we're getting a more kind of finished, polished product when he gets to Las Vegas, because he was slow to adapt. He did adapt, but he was slow to adapt.
I lay a part of that blame on what I talked about with Calamari. Calamari is Kyler Murray. It's Calamari. So when the system is set up for you to have throws, if you go through the progressions, but you bail on your progressions too quick, it's a lot easier to defend you because you only have to defend the first couple of guys. You don't have to defend every single buddy really tight because he's not going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to go 1, 2. Okay, I'm going to run. It's a lot easier to defend that in the secondary. You just keep, like you said, keep everything in front of you, and he's going to either rush a throw because he wants to, he's been running too much, he doesn't want to get hit or whatever. So it's a little bit of it's not all Kingsbury's fault late in seasons that things didn't go his favor offensively. A lot of that was Kyler Murray himself not sticking to the progressions all the way through.
So you talked about the run game. I think the most obvious version of watching him adapt to air raid was how he changed the run game. So in 2019, they ran the ball 41.7% of the time. 2020, they ran it 45.4. 2021, 45.6. So they started running the ball more and more and more. 2022 was below 40% because they were losing so much and just passing willy-nilly. So he's running the ball more and more as things progress, which plays into how AP wants to play and our good run game. Whoever our running back is, whether it's Zeus or Josh, they're both great. We want to get them the ball. But here's the caveat. Of the 396 runs they had in 2019, 93 of them were by the quarterback. Of the 479 runs in 2020, 133 of them were by the quarterback. And in 2021, he kind of like merged the two where they're running the ball more but less with the quarterback. It was 88 in 2021. I think that's because Kyler kept getting hurt, and he's like, dude, I can't have this 5'8" quarterback taking hits, 20 times a game, right? So he runs. A lot of it has been quarterback runs. So it's not as those numbers are kind of deceiving, right? Like it's the NFL average is about 45% run to 45% run, 55% pass in 2023. That's 2024. That's about average. So he runs a little bit less than that, but his design runs even less than that because so many of those runs were quarterback scrambles. So he's still not a run heavy guy. I can't wait to see if Antonio Pierce has that change, right? And I think it also like everything we're talking about, it's so much of this is dependent on who our quarterback's going to be next season, right? Are we going crazy and trading up for number one? Are we rolling it back with Aiden O'Connell? Is it Justin Fields? Is it Baker Mayfield? Is it another rookie? Like that's going to be that's hopefully Kliff Kingsbury is going to adjust his offense accordingly because if he's got a running quarterback, I think it takes some strain off the O-line. There'll be a lot where the runs come, where the ground yards come from. He has more of a stationary quarterback. He's gonna have to make some major adjustments, run the ball on purpose more, as opposed to just like scrambles be the run game. The run game has evolved, and I think based on quarterback, we'll decide what version Kliff Kingsbury goes with in year one.
So, I don't see. Because what you just described is very Josh McDaniels-esque. Mm-hmm. This is my system. You conform to what I do, right? Mm-hmm. I don't see AP wanting any part of that, right? Yeah. I don't see him getting any advice from Marvin Lewis, from Coughlin, from Seymour, from any of these guys that were in the room helping him make decisions. I don't see any of them wanting any part of that. This coaching staff that's being built is young, they're aggressive, and they're innovative. These guys are going to go out there and they're going to adjust things. They're going to make the game plan that's going to be right for the people that they have and for the opponent that they have. It just takes. I just can't bring myself to believe that they're going to be okay with that type of offensive coordinator. I just can't. I can't wrap my mind around that when they saw how it worked in the recent past.
I'm not saying he's unwilling. With Josh McDaniels, he was unwilling to change. He's a smart offensive mind. He was just unwilling to change. He was stubborn. With Kliff Kingsbury, does he have the ability to change quickly? Is the question, because he changed. But it was a slow burn, right? His air raid in the NFL changed very slowly. And here's the thing, like you said, when you're head coach, you've got a million other duties. You can't just be in the lab all day long tinkering your offense. As just offensive coordinator, hopefully he's got time to just sit in the lab and adjust the offense to his quarterback, to the opponent, to our strengths, all those things. That's the hope. Because he hasn't shown that as a head coach. The hope is once all those bullshit responsibilities are off his plate, he can just win. Giant, thank you for the giant super chat, Grandmaster JIA. I was watching a Bears channel earlier, and they were tripping in the chat saying that they'd only buy us Fields if we give up Crosby. Fields isn't worth that. Mark my words. We were getting Daniels or William. Maxx ain't going nowhere. If Maxx goes anywhere, we riot. Like pitchforks, torches. We are descending on Las Vegas, and we're finding out where Mark Davis lives, and we're going there full riot gear. Not letting that happen. I can imagine the Bears would ask. I mean, from the Bears, I ask, to which we go like this. Should we get the bird like this, though? Or should we do the double? I don't know. What kind of bird should we give anyone who says we want Maxx Crosby?
Dude, I don't care about trading anybody, man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about trading anybody, honestly. Because a defensive end is not winning you a Super Bowl. Quarterback. You need a quarterback. Plain and simple. You need a quarterback. And if that gets you your quarterback, then there you go. So I'm not saying I want to. I don't want to, oh my God, someone said the trade fucking the Max. No, I didn't say that. But the most important player by far in team sports is the quarterback of your football team. And if you have the opportunity to get one that you feel is going to be one of the top guys, because if you ask Kansas City, would you trade 10 first-round picks for Patrick Mahomes? Yes, I would. Would you, for Josh Allen, for any of these top-end quarterbacks out there, would you trade way more than you had to get to the point where you traded up for him before? Yes, they would do it. They would give you anything you wanted to get Patrick Mahomes because a quarterback is that important in football. So
those are proven commodities.
No. It's not just that. It's not just that. Of course, for that, yes, but it's you're not going to get one unless you try to get one.
I'm not giving up Maxx for a quarterback for a rookie quarterback. 0% chance. No way. Okay. He's too good at the whole defense. Like he's like the cornerstone of a defense that's good now. Like a miracle. Like somehow good now. No way.
So the way I'm going with this is I don't think anyone's going to want to trade for Maxx anyway. But if we're going to go, we have to pair Kliff Kingsbury with someone who's going to be able to do what Kliff Kingsbury wants. Now, can Aiden O'Connell do a lot of what Kliff Kingsbury wants? Yes, he can. He can. There's a lot of things that you're going to be wasting with Kliff Kingsbury if you don't have a quarterback that can at least move a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And you're not going to get the full bang for your buck Raider-wise as far as coaching staff-wise if you don't have somebody that can do that. And, man, Aiden O'Connell, if you are watching this, I don't know why you would be, but if you are, you better be doing a lot of track workouts and a lot of, like, basketball player workouts and, like, just a lot of movement stuff because that is what's
We're way too vulgar of a show for Farva. You'd hear the swearing and the sex jokes, and you'd be like, oh, God. You immediately open the Bible and
it's not the WWE, man. Relax. But something has me. I mean, look, I would trade damn near. I would trade a ridiculous amount of capital to move up to number one. If that's what this whole thing is built around. Mm-hmm. So it's not just one decision. It's a bunch of decisions in a row that are leading to, let's say that leads to trying to move up to number one again, like we tried to do last year, right? Mm-hmm. Now it's kind of set. You got a fringe Pro Bowl wide receiver, 2 ones and 2 2s. That's the game plan. But Caleb Williams wasn't coming out last year, right? So that ups the ante a little bit. When you hire a Kliff Kingsbury, you hire him to unlock his offense. And I don't know I mean, I do know we don't have the quarterback in the organization right now that can unlock the entire offense for the Raiders.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get a new, whether that quarterback is Justin Fields, whether that quarterback is Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Penix. I mean, who knows who it's going to be? But it's going to be someone that's not on the roster right now, because I don't think you make this move thinking that Aiden O'Connell is going to be the guy to help unlock this offense.
Yeah, this definitely, I couldn't agree more. Because of how much Antonio Pierce talked highly of Farva, I thought maybe he'll roll with them. Like, you asked me, like, hey, what are the odds this or this happens? I was like, I'm like 33% on all of them. Like, I think it's 33% it's a veteran, 33% it's a rookie, 33% Farva, only because of how much Antonio Pierce cooed about him. Getting Kliff Kingsbury makes me, okay, I think that number is going to drastically drop. Like we said on our show, if Farva is our starting quarterback week one of two things happened. Either he insanely impressed over the offseason and showed us he's so much better than what he showed us so far, or two, we thoroughly fucked up our quarterback room. Like, we really messed up what we were trying to do. So the quarterback is going to be a big thing here, right? And I think in most seasons you could get a pretty decent quarterback at number 13. I don't know if we can this time around. Like, do you use that one if you like, Nix or Penix, right? Those top three are probably gone, almost for sure gone by then. Is it a reach to go number 13 with one of those Pac-12 quarterbacks? I don't know, but they certainly have done, like, Bo Nix did a style of offense similar to air raid. I want a veteran and I want a rookie. I want both. And if we go, if we're going Caleb Williams, and our veteran can be, Gardner Minshew. Like, it doesn't have to be anyone special. If we're going, like, second, third round, I want a veteran that can play all 17 games for us if necessary, if, like, our second, third round guy doesn't work out.
So I was saying it, if you're okay with the top three quarterbacks, you're really looking at what New England does at 3. Excuse me. Yeah, New England's at 3. You're really looking at what New England does at 3. If New England doesn't take a quarterback at 3, you're calling Arizona and you're saying, all right, bro, let's make this happen. Yeah. I just can't. I had this posed to me by my cousin. Actually played quarterback, and he coached football in the high school level. He was also a quarterback coach and stuff like that. And he's of the opinion that you can go into a draft and you can have a couple of guys. Like, there's not just one guy. Oh, this is the guy, right? You have a pecking order, but you're okay with any one of these 3 guys. Like, I can win with any one of these 3 guys.
A good GM is going to be like, okay, here's where we would take each one of these guys, right? Like, even if you fall in love with a guy, better than to fall in love with a guy, because the hit rate in quarterbacks is so bad. So what you do is you give value to each one, right? Like, if Jaden Daniels falls to 9, this is what we're willing to give at that number, right? If Bo Nix falls to us at 52, right, then that's what, you know what I mean? Like, you quantify where you would go with each guy if you're a good GM.
Yeah, and if that's the case, so you want to shoot for the stars, right? Shoot for the moon, because even if you miss, right?
Star weather.
I would. So what you can do right now is you can trade up until 3 years. So you can trade this year's first round pick. You can trade next year's 24 up to 25. On the day of the draft, you can actually trade a 26 pick as well.
Yeah.
I would mix, if it's going to be a couple of different first round picks, I would do, one this year, one next year, a 2 in 25 and a 1 in 20. I would try to spread out as much as possible so I can, maybe work some trades in the meantime to kind of bolster my draft beforehand, like in the previous draft, you know, get some picks in the next one. But the issue that I'm looking at here is, what is your mindset in going into team building, right? Because we were talking about this earlier today, and I mean, would you trade your last 5 draft picks for Caleb Williams? The last 5 people that we picked in the first round, and I'm including Davante Adams in this because we used our first round pick to get him. I would. So quarterbacks aren't a lock, but first round picks aren't a lock either. And even if they are good players, they're not going to affect your team nearly as much as a good quarterback will. So if you see the guy that you want, don't be stupid and trade your entire draft like Mike Ditka did, you know, for Ricky Williams, right? But pay the going rate that it takes to get the guy that you want, if that's the guy you want to roll with. You just have to be, you know, it's like the OnlyFans chicks, right? Hey, far be it for me to tell anyone what to do with their life, right? But you got to be okay with the consequences. You know, That's what the problem I have now is these bitches running around saying, "Oh, well, I should be able to do whatever I want, and no one should care what I do." Well, that's not the case. You can do what you want, make the money however you want to make it, but just be okay with the consequences. If you want to go up and get the guy that you want, fine, go up. I have no problem with it.
I do.
You got a lot of smart people.
That's what Gruden and Mayock did. They fell in love and they do whatever they want.
You love average. You love average. Yes, you do. You love it.
I love math. I love
facts. No, you would rather have average than go for greatness. I'm okay. I'm okay with what the 49ers did for Trey Lance. I'm okay with it. I'm fine with them trading and moving up to try to get Trey Lance. I'm okay with it. You know why? Because they had the whole team set up and there was their window. They knew Jimmy G wasn't the guy. We need to get the guy that's going to be the guy for – go shoot your shot, man. You got to do it. If you don't do it, you're not going to be lucky enough to be like the Bengals or the Jaguars, where you miraculously get the number 1 pick when there's a really good quarterback that pans out to be the number 1 pick.
That's the wrong mentality, falling in love and going getting the guy at all costs. The mentality, I'm not saying don't spend.
I didn't say all costs.
You said go get your guy, right? That's exactly what you said.
I did, and I said don't. I also said pay the going rate too.
Okay, don't fall in love. That should not be the mentality. Is going after a guy. The mentality should be, we think Caleb Williams will give us X percentage chance to win a Super Bowl, right? Like whatever that number is, right? He gives us an 87% chance to win a Super Bowl, like 52, whatever, right? You find out what that number is, and you find out what the value of that is. And then you say, Drake May can give us this chance to win a Super Bowl. Jaden Daniels can give us this chance to win a Super Bowl. Bo Nix, whatever, right? You find out where all those quarterbacks are on that pecking order, and then you find out what the going rate for that value is in your mind, and then you see how the chips fall. If with Caleb Williams, someone's coming in, like we think he's the best quarterback in the draft, but people are coming in with 3 first-round picks, trading Pro Bowlers, like they're just through the roof. You're like, no. You get to Jaden Daniels and you think, wow, we were willing to give up 2 firsts for him, but the going rate is 1 1/3. Then you make your move. That's what I mean. You still shoot your shot, but because the hit rate at first round draft picks is so bad, you got to give yourself options. You can't like throw all those options away. We talk about the Patriots all the time. Like when they were drafting, so people are like, oh, for 20 years, they were great drafters. Their hit rate wasn't blow anyone away. They were just really good at hoarding lots of draft picks. That's why they had so many great players they drafted, because they were so good at hoarding draft picks. If you're tossing other draft picks into one guy, you're losing that option. I'd much rather have multiple shots at first rounders to land a good guy, because statistically that's how you do it, because the hit rate at first round is so bad. So I don't think we're disagreeing as much. It's just mentality. Like you have the get your guy mentality. Mine is like find the value of each guy, what you think the rate should be at each guy, and then see how the market adjusts. And then you make your move. If Caleb Williams is like, wow, only 3 firsts to get him, we thought it'd be way more than that, then do it. Right? Like if you think that you're getting
I'd say it's 3 1s and a 2.
Whatever number you come up with, right? Like whatever number,
3 1s and 2 2s. I say yes, do it 3 1s and 3 2s. Yes, do it. Do it. That's
because
what you
you're
need.
in love with him and you want to go get the guy.
No,
Like,
because you need a quarterback the caliber of what Caleb Williams is projecting to be to win consistently in the NFL. You need that. That's what you need to be a serious contender in the NFL. You need what? He is the best, the highest quarterback prospect to come into the NFL in years. In years. I'm not saying he's going to be better than Trevor Lawrence. I'm not saying he's going to be better than CJ Stroud was. I'm not saying he's going to be better, but he is looked at as a better prospect than those guys were when they came out. So how often does these guys come out? He's probably the best prospect to come out since Joe Burrow.
The hit rate is still the same, right? It's still
yes,
like,
but how often do you get that? How often can you get your hands on that guy?
The problem is Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Nix, Penix, McCarthy, like all these guys could also be those dudes. And you don't have to throw like 3 seasons.
Again, you love average, bro. You love average, man.
You're assuming
you're telling me that you're telling me right now. I'm not saying projecting in the future, okay? I'm saying you're telling me right now those other guys are as good as Caleb Williams.
I'm saying nobody knows how they're going to play.
I'm not saying don't project in the future. I'm telling you right now the prospect of the player right now, because no one knows about any. If that's your case, RJ, then just trade all your draft picks and get more draft picks, because no one knows. Like, never draft in the first round. Just get a bunch of second, third day picks, because you never know. No, you have to shoot your shot sometime. And if you can get your hands on a Caleb Williams, if you feel that's your guy, maybe you think Drake May is a much better prospect for whatever reason. Okay, then get the guy that you think is the guy. If it's 3 1s and 2 2s, do it.
No, you don't get your guy because it's a crapshoot. You don't. That's the Gruden Mayock mentality. Oh, whatever.
What are you talking about?
Overall, that was
so the Bills made a mistake. The Bills made a mistake moving up twice to get Josh Allen.
No, that's one of the times it worked out. They lucked out and it worked out. Sometimes it doesn't work out.
It's not luck when it's part of your design. There is a chance of failure. There's always a chance of failure, no matter what you do. Even if you sit back and you do the freak look at New England. Look where they at now. They're the kings of sitting back, trading back. And they have nothing. You have great offensive line and a great defensive line, and nothing else. No players, because you're afraid to stretch out and get the players. That's where you want to be them now. You want to have nothing on the outside. You want to have terrible playmakers. You just want to have a good offensive line and a good defensive line. Fine. Trade back all you want. Get a bunch of draft picks. Pick a bunch of offensive and defensive linemen from the Big Ten. And that's what you're going to get. But if you want to win in the NFL now, you have to have a top flight quarterback. And if you want to luck into getting a Purdy in the 7th round, fine. Do that and see how it's going to work for you.
I just told you what you do. You look at each guy and you assess value, what it takes to get them, and how good you think and how the chance of them giving you a Super Bowl. That's how you look at it. You give yourself an option with each guy you think that can give you a chance at a Super Bowl. And then you do the math from there. You don't go get your guy, because if the guy's too expensive, you're fucked. What you do is you go with, we think Bo Nix gives us a 22% chance, and we can get him real, real cheap. Okay, maybe we go that way. Caleb Williams, we're willing to do 3 firsts and 2 seconds, but the going rate's 3 firsts. Wow, we got better value than we thought. You go get Caleb. This whole well, you don't want to take a shot at all. No, you take a shot, but you take a shot based on market value, because those picks, they're so important, because it's such a crapshoot. And the way you win at the draft is with volume. You win with volume. The Patriots showed us that. You win with volume. That's the way
Patriots showed us. The Patriots showed us you win with a top flight quarterback. Yes. That's how you win.
You get your top flight quarterback with a mentality of value, not just go get your guy. You don't.
You can still get volume and get your guy. You can still trade back and get more picks in the second half of the second day and the third day of the draft. You can still fill yourself with talent as far as that goes. if you don't have a first round pick. You're not going to win anything without the quarterback, and you're not going to get the quarterback unless you go for the quarterback. If you want to wait until you're that bad, where the stars line up, where you're like the Bengals, right? And you're that bad, and you just happen to be a generational style quarterback that is available.
I'm not saying to do that. You're not listening.
And I'm not saying to trade the farm either. I'm saying going rate, but you go get the guy. You go get him.
Well, we have a different mentality. You're saying go get.
Yeah, you love average, bro. You love average.
No,
you love it.
James Daniels isn't average. Come on.
You would love to have Russell Wilson and some freaking slapdick from like Western Kentucky as a rookie and see what happens. And Aiden O'Connell, you would love it. Oh, I'm working to be set up for years. You're not winning with those guys, man. You're not winning with those guys.
That's all what I said, Soto. You're not listening. You don't listen.
Sorry. I'm sorry. So you're the wife and I'm the husband. Okay, sorry. I apologize.
Words are saying A, but I think RJ says B. So
no, I'm hearing what you're saying is you want to sit back like the Patriots and you want to be the Patriots who got Bill Belichick fired. You want to be them. They weren't winning without Tom Brady. Newsflash. They had the elite quarterback that you need. All the other stuff is window dressing. They won with Tom Brady.
You know draft value. That is important. You can still go get your guys. You can still trade picks for dudes. But the go get your guy is the Gruden-Mayock mentality, and that sucks. It's awful. You don't put all your eggs in one basket.
When did they go for a quarterback? Because that's the only position I've ever talked about. Go getting your guy is when it's a quarterback, because he's so much more important than anyone else on the field combined. Your quarterback is that much more important than anyone else on your field. They went and got their guy with a freaking defensive end. They went and got their guy with different positions that don't freaking matter as much. If it's the quarterback, that's when you do it. And if there's a generational talent coming out of college that pretty much everyone in the entire free world is saying, yeah, man, this guy's the best talent to come out of college in a long time, then that's when you do it. But you don't do it for just anybody.
You assess value, and you do it that way with that mentality. The price is the price tag goes up for quarterbacks, but the mentality is still the same. We're just going to disagree on that.
PJ Hall was the guy. That's when you go get your guy. You trade up and get PJ Hall. Don't fucking talk to me about Gruden and Mayock, dude. That was fucking ridiculous.
Well, that was their mentality.
No, it's not. You only do that for the quarterback. You only do it for a quarterback.
Well, the one thing we can 100% agree on is the perfect thing that Kliff Kingsbury is bringing to the table. I found his girlfriend. He's
shopping from the top shelf, man, for sure.
Dude, can we make sure we get her in the box constantly, please? Look at this dime. She even kind of looks like him.
I don't know about that, but oof.
I think she's like that's his house. That's his pool. Look at those friends.
He's definitely a Raider, bro. He's definitely got that swag for sure.
He's too pretty to be a Raider.
That's not true. That's not true. You can be pretty and be a Raider.
No, you can't. You gotta be a grizzled, ugly man. That's a Raider. That's a pirate. Dude, his house is literally like an Instagram model set.
Good God.
Dude. Look at that.
Bro, you're starting to creep me out a little bit, RJ. I can see that look in your eye.
She's like 92 pounds, and her ass is bigger than yours. Look at that thing.
She squats, bro. Thing.
I would eat a mile of her shit just to see where it came from. Hi. Hello. Hi. Hello. Hi. I don't even know how to pronounce her name. Veronica Biliak?
I don't get it. She doesn't have a name. That's Mrs.
Look at that. Look at that.
You know what her name is? Her name is Kliff's chick. That's all she needs to be known as.
Oh, so beautiful. Soto, Caleb wasn't out. Would you move up for J5? Thank you, Space Beast, for the super chat. Much appreciated.
I want to move up to number 1. look, Drake May is a really good prospect. In most drafts, last year he would have been the first pick. Last year, the year before he would have been the first pick. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now I understand that C.J. Stroud ended up going into a really good situation for himself. He got a really good young offensive coordinator. He got a lot of young talent that ended up popping. Singletary went over there at running back and killed it. A lot of things. He's in a really shitty division, right? So a lot of things went his way, but he balled out. But what I'm saying is, going into the draft, nobody thought C.J. Stroud was going to be this good. So that's what I mean by we haven't seen a prospect like this. If Drake May was coming out in the last 3 or 4 years, since Joe Burrow, maybe him and Trevor Lawrence would have had a battle. Okay. Yeah. But other than that, Drake May would have been the first pick any of those years. Caleb Williams is seen as incrementally a better prospect, and it has more tools, and it's just it's tough to say. It's tough to separate in other people's minds what I'm trying to say. Am I guaranteeing this guy is going to be the end-all be-all of quarterbacks? No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is we haven't seen a guy leaving college going into the pros with this much behind him off of his play, not just the hype, off of his play. And the way the NFL is going now, if you can't make off-schedule plays, you get Aiden O'Connell. You get Derek Carr. You get those type of quarterbacks that if it doesn't work out, good luck. And with the way defenses are playing now, scoring has been down for 2 years in a row now. You have to be able to make off-schedule plays. And when you can get a guy that can make those, plus he has a lot of other tools that are at such a high level, you do what you can and what you're allowed to do. You know, I don't know that Mark Davis is going to be like, listen, Telesco, what the hell are you trying to do here? All right, like, slow your roll. Maybe we could move up to number 2. Okay, we don't have to move up to number 1, but I don't think that you can do the spray and pray approach with a quarterback. It just doesn't work that way. There's not that many.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying you don't go in there with the attitude of that's our guy, do whatever. I'm saying you go with.
I never said do whatever. I said pay a going rate.
What you ask yourself, all right, what's the going rate for Caleb? And then what's the chances he gets us to a Super Bowl? What's the going rate for May? What's the chances he gets us to a Super Bowl? And you do that with each quarterback, and you see how the market progresses. I think that's how you do it. And you see, like, oh, we got great value on Jaden, right? We think there's a 52% chance he gets us to a Super Bowl, and he's going to cost us 37% less than we thought. Like, because it's just such a crapshoot. We'll get off this in a second. I just want to show you one thing real quick. So this is since 2000, right? All the quarterbacks. First overall pick, top 10 first-round quarterbacks, right? How many times they've done this one time? Not even consistently or average. Just how many times that a quarterback has thrown for 3,200 yards, 4,000, touchdowns, etc. Right? The hit rate is just so low. Even the first overall pick, right? 83% of those got 3,200 yards at least one time. Only 25% of them, 1 in 4, were able to throw for 4,800 yards. Only 17% of them were able to throw for 40 touchdowns. That's the number 1 overall pick, right? Number 1 overall. Now, again, I'll acknowledge Caleb Williams is not your average number 1 overall quarterback.
Yeah, I was just about to say a lot of these number 1 picks were number 1 picks because they were the best quarterback available, not the best player in the draft.
Somewhere also there's some who were like the can't miss, right? The Ryan Leafs, the Jamarcus Russells, like those were those guys as well, right? But it is fair to say Caleb Williams is not your average number 1 overall quarterback, right? I just say, like, with those hit and miss numbers, it's just very, very, very scary to say, like, that's our guy, as opposed to thinking with the value mentality. That's all I'm saying. Is like those picks can be used to take another shot next year too.
Yeah, you have to temper the value mentality when it comes to quarterback because it's not the same. It's not the same as other positions.
You're right. It's not. It's. I think the mentality is the same, but the price tag is different. I think you keep the exact same mentality, but you acknowledge it's going to cost you picks, right? I think you still do. You still think the same. You still just like I think he's going to make us win this much, and this is how much we're willing to pay. Just know that
RJ,
price tag
I think I know what happened, man. I think I know what happened. You actually had your high school sweetheart who is way above your pay grade, sir. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. I've told you that for years. She's way too good for you. And you lucked out. You think we can do that with quarterback? I don't think it's gonna happen with quarterback, dude. It's just not.
You don't. I'm saying you can trade, but you go value. You don't blow you don't spend all your you go.
So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. I think we can both agree that Caleb Williams is a better prospect than Jaden Daniels, right?
Yes.
Okay. How much better? I think it's significantly better, but they can both still be good quarterbacks, okay? Really good quarterbacks in the league. If the difference between getting what Caleb Williams can be-ish in that upper echelons and getting Tua-ish, Herbert-ish type of guy who's like in maybe that next tier down, if the difference is a first-round pick, do you do it in hindsight to get that much of a better quarterback?
Well, again, this is how I want to think of it. If you miss, you got to think in that mentality too, right? Like, yeah, like if you hit, like it's all no brainers. You know what I mean? If Caleb Williams is who we're thinking he is, then it's 5 first rounders and he's worth it, right? Because the value of a franchise quarterback, like
bro, you don't walk up to the hot chick in the bar thinking she's gonna turn you down, dude. You got to shoot your shot, man. When things line up, you have to go for it. Now, I'm not saying you got to be stupid about it, but yeah, you do have to. Don't let little things get in the way. Like, yeah, they want an extra 3rd round pick. All right, fuck it, do it.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying the chances of you missing are much, much, much higher than I think you're willing to acknowledge, and that means you have to do it again, right? Like if we miss on our quarterback, whether it's Caleb or May or Jaden or whoever, right? Let's say we miss, and there's a really, really good chance we do. We have to do it again. And if we've blown all of our first round picks, then we got to wait 3 years or 4 years or 5 years to try it again. If we went value and we kept a couple bullets left in our gun, then maybe the next year we can try again because the miss rate is so high. I'm not diminishing how important.
What would you say the miss rate is?
I'm saying the miss rate is so high. You need bullets in your gun to try again when there's a really, really good chance you're going to miss.
Okay, this is a question we all need to hear.
Raiders Pod, thank you so much for the super chat. Much appreciated. Who wins?
I think Kingsbury has pulled the more top shelf stuff because Jimmy's gone on with some pretty skanky chicks, bro.
Jimmy, Kliff or Jimmy? Is that me and you? Who's Kliff and Jimmy?
No, Kliff Kingsbury. It's with a K.
Oh,
Kliff King or Jimmy G.
I thought he was calling you Jimmy for Soto and me Kliff for Clifford. I feel like I think Kliff's got the you mentality and Jimmy's got the me mentality. Jimmy's like volume and like they're both upper echelon, right? Like they're super drunk, falling down the bar skank ladder and being desperate is still hotter than anyone we've ever fucked. But with that being said, I feel like Jimmy does the my mentality, like volume and numbers, and Kingsbury's more your mentality. He's like, no, I'm just banking. I'm banking on top shelf only.
So let's say the miss rate is 60%. Okay. The reward, if you get it right, that's your quarterback for 12 years.
Yep.
As opposed to 3 years if you miss. Now, here's the problem. We got to be smart about it. And I don't want to get into a whole back and forth with you and I, but I am of the opinion that we stuck around with the quarterback way too long that was just good enough. And that's when you're in that in-between mode, you're not going to make it happen, man. You're not going to make it happen. You're not going to make it happen consistently, at least. And you're definitely not going to be a title contender. You need that elite player at the most important position, and you don't stop going for it.
So I was all for moving on from Carr for someone better and developing whilst we had Carr, and the Raiders did neither.
They never did. They never did it. That's the problem is he was good enough. He showed you just enough to keep going, to keep pushing. And it's I don't want to get caught in that mentality of, well, he's better than who we had in the past. I don't want that. I want because we're not paying those we're not playing those paths. I want the best guy we can. This quarterback coming out in the draft right now is the best prospect we've seen in a very long time, an extremely long time.
We want the same thing. We both want the Patrick Mahomes, the Josh Allen, the guy better than that. We both want the same thing. My mentality is I know there's a really good chance we're going to miss, maybe multiple times. So let's make sure we have bullets in the gun to continue to keep trying until we get there. Whereas I think you're a little bit more, let's risk the biscuit on this guy because he has the highest probability of not being a bust. And I think that's we both want the same thing. I just think the failure rate is just irking me. I think a smart GM needs to compute that a little bit. What if we miss? How much damage is this going to do for us to try again?
Well, yeah, you have the contingency plan set. You know what you want to do if something happens. You have to have that available to you. But also, the reward is so huge, and the miss rate isn't as the miss rate on a normal first round prospect, because a lot of guys have gone in the first round. They really shouldn't have gone in the first round. It's just because they're a quarterback. This guy's going to go in the first round because he's like the best player available in the entire draft, not just at the quarterback position. So there's a big difference.
I would say maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. is maybe the best guy in the draft, but I'm not going to argue on that one. I'm with you that he is one of the best guys ever in several years. Great prospect, and the price for him is going to be higher than most quarterbacks. I get it.
Last year, the Panthers moved up, and they gave DJ Moore 2 1s and 2 2s. That's what they gave up. Mm-hmm. What would you be comfortable offering, knowing that Caleb Williams is a better prospect than anyone who was out last year, and we're moving up from a little bit further away than where Carolina was?
Yeah. Good question. That's a really good question. Honestly, I would try to include players. I would try to take some of the pain off of it with the draft picks, mm-hmm. with some players. So hopefully 2 firsts and there's no player you can trade away where it doesn't hurt, right?
That's not going to get it done. 2 1s isn't going to get it done.
With players that compensate. I'm trying to think.
Because what young players? Because old expensive players, Bears don't want that. They want young, good players. What young, good players do we have that they're going to want at positions that they want? I don't think many. I don't think we have many.
Not many.
Yeah.
It's a pickle.
Yeah.
It's a pickle. It's going to be a hard decision, right? Passing on him is a hard decision. Trading for him is a hard decision. Before we go, RIP. Raiders great. Not Raiders great, but a Raider. 2 seasons with the Oakland Raiders.
No, he's a Raider great.
Carl Weathers. So Carl Weathers, right? He starred in my favorite movie, Rocky 3. I'm not just saying it because he just passed away. Ask me the last 25 years what my favorite movie is. Rocky 3. He's Apollo Creed. He played my favorite position, linebacker. Played for my favorite team, Raiders. He went to high school in my hometown, went to Long Beach Poly. And I forgot this. He went to University of San Diego, but he got his degree at San Francisco State, where I went. Me and Carl Weathers are basically buddies. We're basically the same guy, me and Carl.
Carl Weathers, man.
What a life. He basically only played 3 like iconic roles, and he was still just universally recognized, beloved. What a great career.
I named my cat after Apollo Creed. His name is Apollo Creed. Right? And one thing I tell the fighters at the gym all the time, I like, stop trying to be Rocky, right? Because the fighter's mentality isn't, I'm gonna go into the ring on fight night and I'm gonna be willing to die in the ring. That's not a fighter mentality, because anyone can go into a situation one night and give it their all. The fighter mentality is the guy that wakes up at 4:30 every day and runs in the rain and does all the bullshit that no one wants to do, grinds it out to make sure he's the better prepared, better shape, more technical fighter. That's the fighter mentality that you need to have. Everyone that falls in love with this whole Rocky, 99 times out of 100, Rocky loses this fight. And Apollo Creed is the better fighter. So
Rocking up is when you break glass in case of emergency. You have that in your back pocket, but you want to be the game plan is Apollo Creed.
Yeah, you want to be Apollo Creed. You want to be the more in shape, the better technically sound, prepared fighter. That's who you want to be going into a fight. And it's one of those things where, like, you know, if you look at like the Karate Kid, if you look at it from from a different perspective, you know, Johnny Lawrence was the good guy and Daniel LaRusso was the bad guy. I mean, I don't know if you've seen that edit where they went through the whole thing about how Daniel LaRusso was antagonizing and being the dick the whole time. Yeah, and I agree. And when I talk to these guys, I'm like, man, you're in here, and so he's a very big positive influence. Carl Weathers was, as far as an Apollo Creed, about how you should be as far as preparation goes. And he also taught me that it's all in the hips.
It's all in
the hips.
So Apollo was his best role by far. I would say Dylan was awesome from Predator. And he was also one half of like maybe the best GIF that exists on the internet. What's the matter, Dylan? See, I got you pushing too many pencils. Okay. Never know when to quit, did you? I think that's number 2.
Chubbs Peterson, dude.
He was way underrated in Action Jackson. Fucking sweet.
Man. No, Action Jackson was cool, but Chubbs Peterson, man, come on. I'll take one of those about to die out. You're a sick man, Chubbs.
Chubbs was iconic.
Yeah, he's like, no one played the piano.
And then Mandalorian, it was cool that like a new generation of people like learned to appreciate him, you know?
Yeah.
A whole new generation get him. R.I.P. Carl. Raiders had some sweet fucking players that played for him. There's some really good like actors and just like cool guys.
I just I don't know, man. Like if the best of times for Raiders were when we had those types of like, when we had that mindset, you know, we had that mindset of like, yeah, you want to be an actor too? Sure, come on, play football. You can be an actor too. And
it was also when you can make more money doing just like bit parts as an actor than as an NFL player too. Like that was also back when guys were like,
so yeah, there was a show,
and then in the spring I'm a plumber in my hometown.
I forgot what the show was called, but I used to watch reruns with my godfather, and it was a Telly Savalas, a bald dude. I forgot what the show was. But a bunch of football players made cameos in that show. He was like a private investigator, like a detective, some guy like that. I forgot what it was. And Kojak, and like a bunch of football players. Yeah, Paul, you're the man, dude. And a bunch of football players made cameos. in that show. You didn't know Matuzak was sloth?
No.
Really?
Baby Ruth.
I actually said that when I was wearing a Matuzak. I have a Matuzak jersey, but so like Carl Weathers was in there. The guy that played Hunter from Hunter, he played for the Rams. What was the guy that with the flowers? He played for the Rams. He was a defensive lineman. He was like a spokesman for some like flower delivery service or something like that. But he was there too. There was like a bunch of old football players. I'm like, who are those huge guys? And he's like, oh, that's this guy, and that's that guy, and that's this guy. And he was telling about all the football players who were in that show. Yeah, Fred Dreyer. Good pull. Who's the guy? Who's the guy from the Rams? Because it was Deacon Jones. Deacon Jones was one guy, and then he was the white dude, the white defensive tackle / defensive end. I forgot what his name was.
Gets it first. Which Windbag gets it first?
Who's gonna get it? Who's gonna get it?
Who's gonna be?
Cheyenne. Merlin Olsen, Realist Raider, you got it.
Realist Raider. Ding 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 ding.
Merlin Olsen, that's who it is. Merlin Olsen. Yeah. So he was in that show too. I remember, dude. I just love that mentality that we had back then. That whole like we're gonna do whatever, like we have that now. We're gonna do it our way.
Antonio Pierce's whole dream that he sold to Mark Davis is like we're going to be the 70s, 80s Raiders.
Bubba Smith was too.
All right, that's been over an hour. R.I.P. Carl Weathers, Kliff Kingsbury on board. It all comes down to, like most things, it's all going to come down to the quarterback anyway. So, once again, a Raiders offseason is going to be anything but boring. Anything but boring. Regular show next week. We're recommitting ourselves. My kids in elementary school 5 days a week. The move's almost done. Soto doesn't have COVID for the 17th time again, so he's healthy. We're gonna do more.
Dude, I gave it to my chick, and she's really sick, bro. I feel bad.
Telling you. We're gonna be more consistent every single day. We'll be cranking shit out just for you guys because we love you. Until then,
hey, I found him.
What'd you find? You hungry, son?
Del Taco.
Oh, that's the Del Taco. Oh, Turco. Hit us up on social media, dude. We'll go visit.
Hit me up, bro. We'll go.
Hit us up, Turco.
Bro, I feel so bad, dude. I feel so bad. Because look, here's the thing. I started feeling a little sick Friday morning, right? Like I couldn't clear my throat or whatever. And I still went to work, whatever. Well, I got these tickets to this like night walk. It's like a light walk, like this light show and all this stuff, like Astrolumina or something like that. It's in Palos Verdes. So it was like a surprise to my chick, and she didn't know where we're going, right? So I'm like, all right. I gotta go. These tickets are already paid for. I got like the Pimp Daddy package where we get all these special gifts and all this other stuff, right? We gotta go. I don't feel well. I don't feel super sick, but I just don't feel well. I'm gonna go. So I went, and I was still like, babe, don't kiss me, like just on the cheek or whatever. But it's like, stay away because I don't feel well. I don't want to get you sick. We went, and it was like all outdoors at night, and it was a little bit cold, whatever. We went and got pizza afterwards. The next day I woke up and I'm like, man, I feel like crap. And I'm like, hey, babe, you should test yourself because I just tested and my COVID fucking test went like this. That pink strip was black. It was so freaking dark. Like, you have COVID. It was yelling at me. I was like, oh, shit. So she tested.
You got COVID 24. COVID-19, like way beyond COVID-19.
Crazy. So I would say Saturday was the second day. I tested negative Wednesday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I only had it really for 5 days. And it's out of my system. And she's still sick, like really bad. I feel terrible, dude. I took her some Thai food yesterday because she was like, I'm tired of eating, hard-boiled eggs and stuff because like that's all she can really stomach. So yeah, man, I feel really bad.
Of all the diseases you're giving your girl, COVID is the least of her worries. That's what I have to say to That's it for us. Great show. Thank you for joining us, everybody. We will be back tomorrow. We're going to do shows every day. Maybe not live, but we'll crank out some good shit for you guys.
Figure it out.
Until then, knock on wood if you're with me.